Hi everybody and welcome back to Be Like Christ. Have you ever wondered why God made us to be thirsty and hungry all the time? I'm hungry all the time. That's the topic of today's video. Wouldn't it just be great if you were never thirsty or you're never hungry? Even though I like eating, eating's expensive. I have to go find some stuff to eat to make in my house or go out to a restaurant. It'd just be better if I didn't have to do it. Think of how much time I would save. And that's not even to mention how hard it used to be versus how hard it is today. Today, if I'm hungry, I've got 20 restaurants that I can go to, and in about 5 minutes I can have something to eat. But back in the day, that wasn't necessarily the case. I would have to go out and hunt something down or find some berries or maybe be growing crops in my field. Today I can go to any gas station on any street and get a bottle of water. But a couple hundred years ago, I'd have to carry water in my canteen, and if I was going out on a journey, I would have to know the next place that I could fill up that canteen. Otherwise, I was going to be in trouble because you can only last a couple days without it. So why did God make us this way? I think the answer can be seen in pictures in Scripture. I think God gave us physical thirst and physical hunger to parallel spiritual realities. Water and thirst are mentioned several times in the Bible, and think about the stories like the children of Israel wandering around in the wilderness. They are several times wandering to a place and there's no water. And I think God obviously does that intentionally, and the reason is because He's going to show them that He is their provider, even in a dry desert. And that's supposed to communicate to them a couple things, and that is that, number one, not only could God care for you physically, but also you need to look to Him for your spiritual provision. And that's something that the children of Israel weren't doing very well, and a lesson they needed to learn. If you're familiar with the book of Jeremiah, you also know of Jeremiah chapter 2. God says in Jeremiah that He is a fountain of flowing water, of living water. He never runs dry. He's always there to provide for His people. But His people have decided that they're going to come over here and build cisterns. A cistern is basically a giant basin or tub of water that collects rainwater so that you can come and drink it, right? Because they didn't have running water. But the problem with the cisterns that the Israelites had built was that they were broken and they had cracks in them and the water would leak out and they couldn't hold any water. And you might ask, well, why would they do that? And that's a good question, because that's exactly the question that God is asking them. Why did you abandon me to go over here and try to provide for yourselves? We cannot find satisfaction to quench our souls outside of God. My wife actually wrote a book called Parched on this very topic, kind of her previous life seeking satisfaction outside of God and how it never worked. I'll link that in the description below for the ladies if they're interested. We can try to find satisfaction outside of God, and many people try. They try their entire lives to satisfy the longings of their soul through education or through career or through wealth or through prestige or through ease and comfort, through retirement. So thirst in a physical sense reminds us of a spiritual reality of that we need the water of life that only God provides for us. Remember in Matthew chapter 5, the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus says, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst after righteousness." So we're thirsty, but we're also hungry. And this picture is shown to us many times in the Bible. Again, the children of Israel, they're out in the wilderness, and obviously there's, maybe close to 1 million, 2 million people out here that left Egypt. Where are they going to find food for that many people? Well, if you know the story, God provides manna from heaven, and He also provides the quails to remind them that He's their caregiver. In the New Testament, Jesus feeds the 5,000, and then He feeds a group of 4,000 people. And His intention is not just to feed them physically, but to ultimately feed them spiritually. Jesus says, "I am the bread of life." In John chapter 6, verses 28 through 35, we read of Jesus talking in this way. So a crowd comes to Jesus and they ask Him, "What must we do to be doing the works of God?" Jesus answered them, "This is the work of God, that you may believe in Him whom He has sent." So they said to Him, "Then what sign do you do, that we may see and believe you? What work do you perform? Our fathers ate manna in the wilderness, as it is written, He gave them bread from heaven to eat." The people have come to Jesus and they're saying, "Okay, if you're going to claim to be the Messiah, what sign do you do? Because we had a great prophet, Moses, and Moses brought us bread from heaven. So if he did that, you should have a sign as well." Jesus then said to them, "Truly, truly, I say to you, it was not Moses who gave you the bread from heaven, but my Father gives you the true bread from heaven. For the bread of God is He who comes down from heaven and gives life to the world." And they said to Him, "Sir, give us this bread always." Jesus said to them, "I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me shall not," notice, "hunger, and whoever believes in me shall never thirst." And did you ever notice the last few words of the book of Revelation, the very end of the Bible? What is the offer that is made as the Bible is closing its pages? Verse 17, the Spirit and the bride say, come. And let the one who hears say, come. And let the one who is thirsty come. Let the one who desires take the water of life without price. So why is it that God made us to be thirsty and hungry every single day of our lives? I think there's at least 3 observations that we can take from the text of the Bible, and I'm sure there's many, many more. Number 1 is that our souls are thirsty, not just our bodies, and they're hungry. And our entire lives are a quest to satisfy that hunger and thirst. The second is that God, His Son, and the Spirit are the only real source to find that satisfaction in. And the third is that just like those people back in the olden days had to stay close to a water source in order to survive and be provided for, in the same sense, spiritually, we need to stay close to the true source of satisfaction and nourishment for our soul if we hope to be healthy and not be in trouble spiritually. Thanks for watching the video. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Comment down below. Let me know if you have any other applications from water or from food that you've seen other places in the Bible. Share the video if it's been helpful to you, and hit that like button, and I will see you guys next time.